to welcome back Janeen to the club. She is reinstated as a new member. Janeen has been a member of Toastmasters for several years. Over the past few years, she has actually been developing her knowledge about stress and trauma. Today, she would like to discuss the impact of stress on our well-beings. Her speech is titled Hyper-Aroused Nervous System, the Body and the Power to Breathe. She will be doing a motivational speech that is 15 to 20 minutes from the Professional Speaking Manual. Please welcome Janeen.
Do you ever experience, or have you experienced, a stiff neck, tension, tight shoulders, back pain, foot pain, upset stomach, irritable bowel syndrome, or a constant feeling of fatigue or irritableness? Have you considered that all these physical symptoms may be stress-related? I realized that I carried stress in my body. Recently, this became very profound as I was having difficulties moving my neck. I couldn't move my neck. And it was related to the stress I was experiencing at work. It took me some time to make the connection, but eventually I did. What I would like to propose to you is that your body keeps score. It's a record keeper of everything you've ever experienced, kind of like the subconscious. The current trauma research indicates that we really do store trauma, tension, anxiety, and every memory in our body. There's a wonderful traumatologist, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, who I love, who talks about the body keeps score. He, among other traumatologists, have been looking at this very closely. Most of us are frazzled or stressed at one time or another. Stress is the norm. You know, stress from work, relationships, kids, work, money, the hurricane, stress. How about the political rants? Do they cause you stress? All of these things are stressful. They cause our body to feel this anxiety that most of us are not even connecting to. My talk today has two purposes. First, to make you more aware of the connection between the stress and your body. And second, I would like to inspire or encourage each one of you to tap into this stress and become more body aware. And I will share a technique with you that will hopefully help you learn how to calm down your hyper-aroused or overly aroused nervous system to a calmer state. We use the word stress every day in our vernacular. What is stress? Well, stress is an intrinsic and extrinsic stimulus that causes a biological response. We know this from science, that when we are stressed, we can release stress hormones. You've heard of cortisol. When we release cortisol, lots of things happen in our body. We can have skin breakouts. Our metabolism can slow down. Our blood pressure can go up. We can get GI upset. We can have irritable bowel syndrome, and much more. Some believe, and some research actually points to, that stress can trigger chronic diseases like Crohn's disease and multiple sclerosis. We used to think that stress was just in our head, with all of our thoughts. But now, the current research is showing that stress is not just in our head. Again, it is stored in our bodies. We know this because some current research has shown that we have over 1,000 neurons per square inch that actually stores memory in our body. The Heart Math Institute has been studying the impact of stress on our body for over 20 years. They suggest that stress is not it's not the event or the stress that is causing us discomfort, but it's our emotional response to stress. The body is experiencing stress constantly. And so what happens is we're living in this constant state of arousal. I refer to it as a jazzed up nervous system. So it is very normal for us to be multitasking, looking at our phones and doing many different things at one time. And ultimately, our nervous system is in this constant state of arousal. Well, the central nervous system is part of the brain, right? But it's developed to serve us, to help us survive. And the central nervous system, being made up of the brain, actually has two anatomical structures. We have the cortex of the brain, which is the human brain. That's the one that's thinking, that's paying attention right now, that makes choices. It's part of our personality. Then we have this old brain, the limbic brain, back here, brainstem, amygdala, hippocampus, and several other parts, that actually is the part of the brain that does not think. It simply reacts. We love that we have an old brain in the limbic system because it's the fight or flight. It keeps us alive. But what happens is when we're all feeling anxiety and stress, we're constantly in this state of hyperarousal. When we are aroused, we are hijacked by fight or flight. Do any of you think that you're hijacked by this constant state of arousal, anxiety, tension? Do you wake up feeling anxious, tense? The current trauma literature is actually stating that we can use our body to down-regulate this hyper-aroused nervous system. So what that means is we can't necessarily talk ourselves out of our anxiety. Talk therapy can help someone with a panic attack to a certain degree, say, for example. But ultimately, if we can connect with our body and use our body as a tool, we can downregulate our nervous system. Unfortunately, we live in a culture that is not body aware. We really don't have body awareness. When's the last time you just checked into your body, noticed what you were feeling in your gut, in your heart, felt your heart rate, actually felt the blood pumping through your body? We are disconnected from our bodies. What I'd like to do is share a technique with you that will hopefully help each one of you downregulate your nervous system, and that you can employ every day if you choose to. And I am quite confident that if you use this technique every day, you will see a significant difference in the leveling of anxiety and stress that you hold in your bodies. There are several techniques that utilize the body, and I'm just going to review a couple of the techniques briefly, and then I'm going to go into a technique that you all can use. Everyone is familiar with yoga. Has everyone tried or anyone tried yoga? We all have an awareness, I assume, that yoga can be beneficial to our well-being. It calms us down. Some refer to it as getting centered. But yoga does have a significant impact on our well-being in terms of calming our state. We also know that meditation has profound impact on our nervous system. In 2013, the University of California did a study on mindful meditation, and they actually showed the reduction of stress hormones after doing meditation. Meditation has been around for thousands of years. There's a new technique called TRE, Trauma Tension Release Exercises, which utilizes the innate tremor mechanism that's in every one of us to actually downregulate this hyper-aroused nervous system and bring us back to equilibrium. And then, of course, last but not least, and certainly these are just a few examples, there are breathing techniques, and there are many breathing techniques. There's holographic breathing, there's breath work that you see or hear of in yoga. There are many, many techniques But the one I am going to talk about is one that we call heart breathing. And the heart breathing is significant because it brings the autonomic nervous system back down to a more balanced state. And if you think about when you are triggered, when you're in that fight or flight state, some of the things that happen in your autonomic nervous system are increased heart rate, shallow breathing. I mean, if you all stop for a moment and think about what your breathing is like right now, more than likely it's fairly shallow. So breathing can really deepen the calm state and bring the nervous system back down. So if you are comfortable, what I would like each one of you to do is participate for a few moments in a little activity that will be very beneficial if you choose to incorporate it in your day. Close your eyes, again, if you're comfortable, and take a deep breath in. And as you're doing so, imagine breathing in through the heart, as though the heart is the mechanism that you're breathing through. And as you breathe in, count to 5 to yourself, and then hold for 5. And then exhale for 5. And as you're doing so, continue to breathe through the heart, focusing on the breath. Now, as you're doing this, a few cycles of the inhalation, hold, and exhalation, I'd like you to remember or recall an event, a memory, or anything that you are grateful for, thankful for. Hold that memory in your heart and focus on the feeling. Continue to breathe. Again, breathing in through the heart and out through the heart. Now you may open your eyes. Obviously, you would continue to do that exercise for a longer period of time. If you do that breathing technique for 3 to 5 minutes a day, once a day, you will see a marked reduction in your stress. Practicing this technique will bring the aroused nervous system down into a more balanced state. And of course, you have to practice it. If I connected you to an EEG monitor while you were doing that breath work, the EEG monitor would actually show that your brain waves changed to more coherent, balanced brain waves, similar to what you would see in deep meditation. Breath work is very powerful. The other reason I like this technique is because it's extraordinarily easy to incorporate into your day. You can do it anywhere. I started using this technique and found profound results. I also found that the more I did this technique, the more I became aware of body aches, mysterious aches and pains that were popping up and that they were actually speaking to me. Why was I having so much neck pain? It was related to the amount of stress and anxiety that I had around my job. Nathaniel Bateman is a psychologist who researched mysterious aches and pains, and some of the work that he showed was that, for example, if you have back pain, often it's indicative of anger that you're storing. Or if you have tense shoulders, it's carrying burden and responsibilities. Upset stomach can be related to fear. So there is a connection between the stress and the anxiety and the tension that we feel and what happens to our body. My call of action for you is to try this breathing technique once a day, just for the next week. And then after a week, take an inventory on how you feel. Do you feel stressed? Are you tense? Do you still have aches and pains? Or more importantly, are you more body aware? Are you aware of when your heart rate begins to accelerate? I guarantee you, the more you connect with your body and the tension, the more you can release this tension, and it has less control over you, because ultimately what you're doing is down-regulating the nervous system. I look forward to each one of you trying this technique, if you choose to do so, and hopefully having less stress and anxiety in the days and weeks and months to come. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you, Madam Toastmaster.